Hi everybody, I'm Amy Anamkara and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I have a really great interview with a woman by the name of Emily Cross. She actually lives in the UK and she's an end of life doula. And she also does these workshops which are called living funerals, which we're going to talk about together in the video. So I just wanted to preface the video, just kind of tell you a little bit about her. I haven't made a video in a really long time, since I think hers was my last interview that I have done since April, and it's now August. So it's been a little wonky for me. Feeling some big transitions coming my way, and things are going to be changing for me. So, but I wanted to get this video out, not just for Emily, but for you all as well, because what she does is really interesting work. And she also trains. So if you're an end of life doula out there and you're interested in learning more about these living funerals and you want to do a training with her, she's the one that you should probably get in touch with. So let's move forward and meet Emily. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hi there. I'm really sleepy. How are you?
I'm good. You're in England, so we have a little bit of a time difference.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to just introduce Emily Cross. I'm just going to read her bio, and then we'll get jumping into the conversation. First, I just want to say thank you so much, Emily, for doing this. So Emily is an end-of-life doula. She's a musician and an artist living in Cornwall, England. After graduating from the School of Art Institute in Chicago, where her visual artwork centered around mortality and loss, she moved to Austin and quickly became integrated within the arts and the music scene. In 2015, she decided to pursue a career serving the dying and earned a professional certificate from the University of Vermont and from Quality of Life Care. She established Steady Waves End of Life Services in 2017 and brings her unique set of skills to her work and the dying and their families. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk to Emily today is because she also does something called living funeral ceremonies. And I was really curious because I had actually sat down at, it was a hospice, kind of like a social event. And one of the gals that I was sitting next to said that she had trained with you for these ceremonies. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get in touch with this woman. I want to hear all about it. So I was really excited. So the first thing that I want to ask you is, how did you get into end of life? Overall?
Yeah. So I, th how do I begin? So in college, I went to college for art, fine art. So I'm a painter and I draw. That was my main focus. And while I was there, I became really fascinated by near-death experiences. And I, read a bunch of kind of philosophical books and explored that world, I suppose. I even went to a couple of meetups of people who've had near-death experiences, and I went to lectures and things. And my art practice was partially about that, about near-death experiences and what we can learn from them, living life. So I guess that was sort of the beginning of my interest in the world of dying and death. And then fast forward a couple of years, I was then living in Texas So I moved from Chicago to Texas, and I had started to make music and was doing some odd jobs like nannying and working in restaurants, that kind of thing, alongside being a musician. And one day I was driving home from the studio from recording, and I had kind of been looking for a supplement to go alongside music and art, kind of, I guess, looking for some other avenue to run alongside that work that I do. And on the radio, actually on NPR, was a story about death doulas.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately was thinking, yes, that's me, like a non-medical presence at the end of life. I've never wanted to be a medical professional. I'm quite squeamish. My mom does home health and medical stuff, and I really respect her for that. But I knew I couldn't be a nurse or a doctor or anything, but I love to help people, and I love to just be with people, like as a companion. And yeah, I heard that on the radio, and I immediately, that same day, I looked into death doula courses and started learning, and I never looked back from there.
Great. So, I mean, I know you did University of Vermont. I haven't heard of quality of life care.
Mm,
Is that part of
that
something different?
totally different. Yeah. The person who started that is a very experienced end of life doula, and her name is Deanna Cochran. And the reason I was attracted to her course was because she was local to me in Boston. And so I could actually go and meet her and talk to her and learn from her and have hands-on experience as well.
And so you did have hands-on experience.
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. And so how does working with folks at end of life, how has that changed you?
Oh gosh. I guess the main way that it's changed me is that I basically just do, well, it's hard to put it into one kind of succinct sentence because it touches all areas of my life. But in short, I have heard many deathbed regrets and confessions and things, and there's several through lines and very common things that I hear. And some main ones are just, being authentic, doing what you want to do with your life, being present as much as possible, and not taking things for granted and being grateful. So maybe the number one thing, just to put it simply, is that I feel much more gratitude every single day for being here. Right. Because I know that it could go at any moment.
Mm-hmm. Is there something that you do in your end of life that is work that is like your specialty? Like some people, I love the vigil work. I love being by the bedside. What about you?
I love to facilitate experiences like live music and art making, stuff like that, really honing the space, the physical space. Because sometimes, as I'm sure you know, even the most well-intended loved ones and families, when they're caring for their loved one at the end of life, a lot of people don't think about the actual environment, like how it smells, how it feels, and stuff that people want around. I mean, especially if we're talking about bedbound individuals, that is their whole world around them. So I really love to bring in the outside world and create special experiences if that's what they would like.
Yeah, I love that. So tell me about this living funeral ceremonies. Is this something that you came up by yourself?
Not entirely, no. I was heavily inspired by this documentary I saw about a healing center called Haiwan Healing Center in South Korea. And it was in Korean, so I didn't know exactly what they were saying in their experience, but I gleaned that it was a meditation type of experience, a long one. It was like 4 hour workshop, I guess you could call it. And the intention was to, I guess, have people meditate on their mortality with the aim to prevent suicide, because they had, at least at that time, an issue with a lot of people in the workforce dying of suicide. And so they actually sent quite a few people. Companies would send like their employees these days where their whole workforce would get into coffins and watch documentaries about suicide, and they would, I think, recite their last words and things like that. It was a very in-depth simulation of their own funeral, but in a group setting. And I thought that was just absolutely amazing. This was right at the start of my journey of becoming a death doula. And I initially didn't have interest in, performing these for other people. I wanted to go and experience it myself because I was just so interested in it. And I wanted to know what that felt like to be in a coffin and to have that, visualization of myself dying. And my intention was to maybe get closer to the feeling that my clients were feeling so that I could better myself as a doula. But then when I was looking around for the experience in the States, because I thought surely someone is doing this here, I couldn't really find anything. I found death meditations and sort of like yoga classes that were slightly focused on end of life or death. But I couldn't find anything where like you go and you are in a room full of coffins and you have that experience of a simulation of your own funeral. And I found out why once that I couldn't find it once I started doing them, but that was what I was inspired by. And since then, the script and the experience has changed over the years, and I've learned a whole lot. But yeah, that's where it came from, my idea initially.
So can you take me through what a ceremony would look like? Like, how long is it? How many people do what's a good number? That kind of stuff, and how you would construct it.
Sure. Well, it can be anywhere from one person to 25, 30 people. I've done, probably is the biggest group I've done. And usually it lasts about an hour and a half to 2.5 to 3 hours if it's a lot of people. And the rough kind of flow of it is that you are faced with your memorial. So you see yourself and you see your birth date and your death date right there. And we go through sort of a letting go of different aspects of your life. So, and this was inspired by, sitting bedside with my clients, losing their capacity to do things slowly, one by one, and what that must feel like. But that's people's reality. Their world, as I say, gets smaller. Mm-hmm. And then there's a writing exercise, and then they're laid to rest, and then there's a sort of full body meditation, death meditation, and then they're dead, and they either get in a coffin or they're shrouded, put in a shroud. Usually I use shrouds because it's pretty it's not very practical to travel with coffins.
Right.
I haven't really figured that one out. The High Healing Center is an actual, I don't know if it still exists actually, but it's a permanent room full of coffins. So it's not really practical for me to do that, but I've shrouded the people. Although at my center that I used to have, I did have one coffin. So when I did one-on-ones sessions, I would have people get in the actual coffin. And that was a willow coffin. So it was very, basically like getting into a big basket, which was really lovely. And then their consciousness just goes wherever it goes without the body. And then they re-enter the body, and then we sort of have a chat afterward. So that's the rough outline of how it works.
Wow. Yeah. Do you train people to do this?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have to be an end of life doula?
No.
Okay.
No. Do you know what? I think that most of us are end of life doulas anyway.
Yes.
So I think training programs are great, and they give you a lot of tools and skills, and in a concise package, it's great for like rapid learning. But I think that we are pretty much all innate death doulas.
I agree with that. And, at least here in the United States, everything needs to be regulated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not, I'm not a regulated person. I don't like to be regulated. So, and I just feel like each person brings their own special gift, right?
Absolutely.
Their own talents.
Yeah.
I love the living, funeral ceremony idea, especially for people that are struggling with their own mortality, that are afraid to die. So I think that that's really, really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, I forgot to say before, but when I was writing the script, that I usually say, I wanted to separate it from I have to apologize to you. I'm speaking so slowly because my brain is like, I have a mom brain now. So
Eat it up.
every thought I have just needs to be like fully strung together.
Oh yeah.
So bearing with me. I don't sleep very much. So what was I saying? I wanted to separate the experience from being focused on suicide. That was my point.
Right.
So I instead wanted to, when I was remaking this experience or making my own experience, I wanted to focus on how getting close to mortality and simulating that experience and feeling it more than we usually do can benefit our lives going forward in a way where we can live our lives as more happy, mindful, peaceful people. And ultimately, I want to give the experience to anyone who is open to it that I have had sitting bedside with people who are actually dying. That's what I want to imbue upon people, is the benefit that I've gotten in my life from people who are dying.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also a beautiful opportunity to give people control, like make them feel like they have more control rather than, just imagining like how it would look, instead of it being so fearful. So I love that idea. So
yeah, and the fear, that's a very human thing to be afraid of death, of course it is. But maybe it's like anything else that you fear, like going to the dentist or whatever. Like looking at it directly usually helps it rather than avoiding it. So the intent is not to get rid of the fear necessarily. Maybe that can't really happen, but just to become more comfortable with that, because death will happen to you.
Right. And you're also, if it's a group setting, you're forming a community. And so people are able to talk. And that's really important because people don't talk about death, right? So,
And also it's really, I'm always floored by people's bravery coming to the experience, because they, maybe not everyone tells their friends and family what they're doing, but a lot of people, oh, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm going to this living funeral. So like that is a weird thing to do in our culture, in the West. So I just think that these people are amazing who come to these living funerals, because they really go for it. Like they're in it, and that's very cool.
yeah. Is there a difference between America and England in this work?
Um, yeah, I mean, yes and no. America's so big, I would say in general, a lot more openness towards talking about death and dying is happening in America, but it is just a bigger place. Plenty of people here are open to talking about it, but as a whole, people in England tend to be a little more reserved, a little more closed off.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. I would think it would be the opposite, honestly. So
I thought it was the opposite before I moved here, but then it hasn't been that in my experience. Yeah.
okay. How do I train with you? I want to train.
Very casual. So if you want to train, first of all, I just switched to donations only, because I was doing this sliding scale thing, and I don't know, it just feels right now to just be doing donations. So I just want to throw that out there, because I did used to charge like a flat fee for the training, but now I, have people just look if they can donate, how much they can donate, even like if they want to pay over some months or whatever. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
But it's basically a series of Zoom calls, and it's about, I would say, 6 or 7 Zoom calls that last about an hour.
Okay.
Let's go over some PDF documents, and then that's it. And then I encourage you to schedule like a trial living funeral, either online or in person. And then I never cut off like the call. So if you want to touch base about if it's been a while since you've trained or something, I'll never not have time to talk to you about that, basically. So it's not like you only get 6 calls or something, if you know what I mean.
Okay. So is it a group or is it one-on-one?
If usually these days, if someone wants to train and there's been a person that wants to train also, I'll ask, like if you wanted to do it and then someone else has messaged me as well, I'll ask you if they can join in, but generally it's one-on-one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm definitely interested, but you got to give me some idea of like what you would want for money, because
I know it's kind of annoying when I'm like,
it's very uncomfortable.
well, I'll tell you what I used to charge.
Okay.
So I used to charge, and I've never charged anything different. Only people have paid more and people have paid way less.
Okay.
But I used to charge $750.
Okay.
And then some people have paid, $50. Some people have paid $1,000. So truly, honestly, I'm not fibbing. I will train anyone if they want to learn. It doesn't matter how much money they have.
Okay.
And yeah, that's just my little spiel about it. Of course, I love money and I want money, but you know what I mean? I want someone to like want to
I
do it
live. Yeah.
and they can't do it.
Okay, that's terrific. All right, I really appreciate that. All right, so I'll reach out to you and maybe we can schedule something. Does that sound good?
Cool. Yeah, whenever. Just let me know and I'm happy to do it. That's exciting.
So, who is somebody that inspires you in the deaf community?
Oh gosh. Well, Francesca Arnoldi, who used to teach for the University of Vermont, is very inspiring to me. My friend Jill Schock, who is Death Doula LA, she's very inspiring to me. Who else? I feel like so many people. My friend Sophia, who weaves coffins here in England, is inspiring to me. And I do feel like I'm genuinely missing so many people, but you know, a lot of people in the
Good.
Terramation space right now doing very cool things.
Mm-hmm.
So many just absolutely amazing people in the death community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And one last question, what are you working on right now?
I'm working on, I just moved, so I'm in a new community of people. So I'm working on right now building an actual community in my community, but I mean in person. So I'm a big believer of actually being in your community as a death doula. So I want people to know, and my neighbors, my actual neighbors, to know who I am, what I do, so that I can serve them. I don't need to be serving people all over the world and over the country. We need death doulas to be in their own communities, serving the people around them and actually doing that, not just shouting online, which is also important. You know, we need to educate people. We need to be having these conversations that we're having right now online. But I think that the real work is doing it in your community, because that's how it spreads, you know, with death cafes and volunteering for hospice and helping your neighbors. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, so you're doing death cafes?
No, I haven't started that yet, but I was doing them, and also going to them, just being a person there, in case anyone wants to talk. But you know, I'm also doing living funeral trainings and doing living funerals. I'm doing a living funeral in a couple days, in person, which is really exciting, and just living life.
Love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Emily. I really appreciate you, taking the time out of your workday to do
Oh,
this.
it's my pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Stay on because I have a question for you, but for the rest of you, thank you so much for watching. And I'll put in the description how you can get in touch with Emily. I hope you do. And thank you guys so much. See you later. Bye.